Welcome, everyone. My name is Sarah Ray from the Bloomfield Public Library. Thank you for joining us today as we welcome Dr. Neffinger back to BPL to educate us about heart health. So I'm going to turn the mic over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for coming. I'm Dr. Neffinger. I work at Bloom Natural Health in West Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm here to talk about heart disease and heart health and how to promote your best heart health. So we'll touch on a bunch of different topics today, and then we'll have questions at the end. As Sarah said, let me just share my screen here. So, actually, are you able to see the whole slide there, or is it?
It's your view,
Okay,
the background view, like your.
got it. Okay. So, heart health, what is heart disease? That we'll start there, and then we'll talk about ways to promote health too. So, heart disease basically refers to any number of diseases that can affect the heart or any of the blood vessels or heart function. There are many risk factors for heart disease. So, age is a major risk factor. So, being over a certain age, as we progress in age, we're certainly more likely to develop heart disease and conditions that can contribute to heart disease. Family history, if genetics play a big part in it. So, if you have any sort of family history of heart disease or high blood pressure or high cholesterol, that certainly increases your risk of heart disease. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking can really affect our blood vessels, unhealthy diets, physical inactivity, or being physically inactive for most of the day, obesity, and stress can all affect it. And we'll talk about how to address most of these things today. One thing that's very important to remember is you can improve any risk factors. So even if you have genetic predisposition to develop heart disease, there's many things you can do to improve your heart health and protect your heart as you progress in age. First thing you can do, baseline, is eating a healthy diet. And sometimes some people have more knowledge than others in terms of what is healthy, what's unhealthy. We'll talk about all of those things. But the first thing I always tell people is just eat more vegetables. So I don't, if you're used to eating fast food or you're on the go a lot, as long as you're eating a vegetable on top of it, that's a really good place to start. And then you can start incorporating more healthy foods into your diet. So aiming for 5 to 10 servings of vegetables per day and choosing a variety of colors because that really helps you get a variety of nutrients in your diet. If you're eating the same foods every single day, it can create nutrient gaps in the diet where you're not getting certain nutrients. But if you eat the rainbow, you're probably getting as many nutrients as you can. Whole grains, so aiming for food that is as close to the whole food as possible. So quinoa, brown rice, oats, whole grain bread, sprouted bread. Ezekiel is a really great option. That's really much better than processed white bread or processed carbohydrates like bagels, crackers, pasta. Pasta is a really big part of a lot of people's lives, so you can go for a whole grain pasta or a lentil pasta. It's a really good alternative. Lean protein like fish, especially fatty fish like salmon. If you like sardines and anchovies, those are a really great low mercury option to be eating on a regular basis. I usually recommend eating a serving of a well-sourced salmon a week. Mackerel, sardines, anchovies, like I mentioned, all really good options. And then poultry like chicken, turkey, beans, legumes, and nuts. And then healthy fats, for many years, people felt like fat was bad, but fat's really, really important for your heart and for your brain and other aspects of your health. So good quality olive oils, avocado, nuts, seeds, and again, fatty fish is a really great source of fat. Foods to avoid in the diet. Most people are familiar with foods that aren't very good for us. So processed foods, baked goods, sugary drinks, sweets. If we're eating or drinking calories in something like soda, there's so many alternatives out there now, like, Zevia soda or Poppy. There's probiotic sodas that are very popular, and you can even get them at Costco. So if you do love soda, there's a lot of healthy alternatives now. Candies, anything that will break down into sugar in your body can really cause you to cause your heart to progress in the wrong direction. So we want to protect our heart with avoiding these foods in the diet. Sodium, especially if you have high blood pressure or a family history of high blood pressure, good idea to avoid sodium in the diet as much as possible. Reading your labels is really important. You can easily find a really healthy soup that you could be eating for lunch every day and not realize that there's a ton of sodium in there. And then also choosing herbs and spices to help flavor your food instead of salt. And then red meat, I feel like isn't so bad. We want to make sure we're eating it in moderation. So I'd recommend maybe once a week and choosing a really healthy grass-fed or grass-finished red meat. If your red meat is grass-fed and grass-finished, which means the cow or the lamb ate grass throughout their life, and then also before they were slaughtered, then basically that provides more omega-3 fatty acids in the diet, which is really great. And then alcohol, another easy way to eliminate calories. Alcohol is really inflammatory, and there's a lot of processes in the body that alcohol contributes to that aren't very helpful to heart health. So drinking in moderation, ideally not at all. If you're someone who likes the ritual of an alcoholic drink, I would say try to cut it with seltzer or soda, a healthy soda, or just a little bit of juice and water. That way you're reducing your alcoholic intake over time. Other tips are you can cook at home, read your food labels, make sure you're reading what's in your foods and healthy cooking methods. So instead of deep frying foods, you can grill, bake, steam, stir fry. Those are all healthy options. I like to ask people what types of oils they're cooking with, because certain oils are more inflammatory, like vegetable or canola oil. I like to encourage that people cook at high heats with avocado oil and then add olive oil to foods that you're cooking at lower heats or foods that you're eating raw. Olive oil is a great heart protective oil. Drinking plenty of water. I say it on every lecture that I have. Water is one of the most important things you can do for your health. So drinking plenty of water, I usually recommend that people drink about half of their body weight in ounces per day. And also being mindful of portion sizes. So most of us need less food than we're eating, or we can break it up into smaller meals. And if you're feeling hungry, adding more vegetables and fiber onto your plate is a great idea. Another thing, I think I skipped the cooking at home, but if you're eating out at restaurants, many times they're adding lots of salt and butter to food that you might not be aware of. So as often as you can cook at home, the better. And it also allows you to add more vegetables in. Exercise. We all know exercise is very important for our heart health. And it's not always the easiest thing to get yourself to do. So general exercise tips. If you're not someone who exercises regularly, starting slowly is really important. So gradually increasing that intensity over time, and doing more. I always tell my patients, even if it means just 5 minutes of jumping jacks or a quick walk after dinner, it really does add up over time. And everyone can do just 5 minutes a day. If that's all that you can do, it's better than nothing. Finding activities you enjoy. So I often recommend ClassPass to my patients, do a Zumba class once a month, do a spin class once a month, kind of like figure out what you like. If it's a lower intensity thing like yoga, it's still very good for your heart and for your mental health in general. And scheduling exercise like a part of your routine. We all make dinner every day and we all go to work every day. And so if we can schedule exercise like that, it really helps us to make sure that we're being diligent. Listening to our body, so taking rest days when we need to. And if we're feeling like our muscles are feeling sore or we're having pain, then talking to our doctor or physical therapist can really help. If someone's just learning how to exercise, many gyms out there offer a free training session when you first sign up. So that kind of allows you to ask questions and learn how to use different machines the proper way, because form is important. And then also warming up and cooling down after each workout. So check with your doctor, but you can easily just pop in the sauna for 5 minutes before a workout. That really helps you to get in the mindset and warm up your body a little bit. And then you can progress into cardio or resistance training, whatever you prefer, or both. Stay hydrated before, after, and during a workout. And then also consider being accountable with a friend. My patients have group texts where they will say, hey, I'm at the gym today. They'll take a selfie or they'll just be accountable. So that way you have people who are motivating you. And then also just make sure you're talking to your doctor if you have any health concerns before you start an exercise program, because certain types of exercises might not be right for everybody. Okay, stress. So stress is a really important aspect of heart health. There's so much research and so much that we're learning about how stress affects our body, but it really can create damage to our blood vessels, and it can affect how our heart health and blood vessel health is. But also, if we're stressed, it keeps us from doing things we enjoy. It keeps us from exercising. It keeps us from eating the right foods. So managing stress is really important. We're going to talk about some ways to do that. So some symptoms of stress: many times people feel low level or high level anxiety, heart palpitations. They might feel like they're having changes in appetite, whether they're eating less or eating more, or changes in your weight. We have a hormone called cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and it typically peaks in the morning and again in the early afternoon. But what can happen is that can be peaking too frequently if we're stressed, and that affects how we process sugar that we eat. So it really can lead to weight gain. And it can affect our other hormones as well. And then changes in sleeping patterns, loss of daily interest, restlessness, feelings of guilt, sadness, or irritability, and then increased heart rate and blood pressure. If you're having high blood pressure, obviously it's not good for your heart, but that could potentially be affected or aggravated by stress. So something to talk to your doctor about. I recommend a therapist for many of my patients. Talk therapy is really, really helpful, especially for people who feel like they are giving to others all the time. So it's kind of an hour a week or a month, whatever is right for you, where you just have an hour to yourself and you can talk and you can get feedback. And that really helps some people. Meditation, which we'll talk more about in a second. Saying no, I can't encourage this enough, saying no when you don't want to do something or when you're overwhelmed. It's really important to focus on our own health and our own mental health. Take time for yourself, invest yourself in activities that you enjoy, limit social media if you feel like it affects you in a negative way, have hobbies, regular exercise, laughing, smiling, watching a funny show or a video. It does help to increase the production of hormones that help to manage stress. Journaling, especially before bed, I really often recommend my patients have a little notebook next to their bed. write down all of your worries and your to-do list, even if it means, replace my roof in 5 years, because our brains do bookmark those things. So we want to make sure we're prioritizing healthy sleep and managing stress. And then there's certain apps you can use when you're feeling stressed or anxious. So Calm, Headspace, Stoics, and Bello, those are all good options for apps that you can use. And workplace burnout is a major cause of stress. It happens to the best of us. And then, so just adopting healthy work patterns and work-life balance, sometimes that means talking to your therapist or your family or HR. Those can all be healthy resources. If you're having conflict in the workplace, you can find training on conflict resolution. Many workplaces offer that. Improving your time management, trying to keep your work at work so you can come home and relax and rejuvenate. Prioritizing your physical health really does help with your stress response, and then finding different coping mechanisms. Your therapist can help you with that, but sometimes it's breathing exercises, sometimes it's just stepping out for a few minutes. If you're having any, feeling overwhelmed, step out, take a quick walk. Reach out to your loved one or therapist. Brief meditation sessions, focusing on your breath is always a good place to start. And then positive affirmations. So sometimes I'll tell my patients to do something that feels silly, but look in the mirror, talk to yourself, remind yourself that you've got this, or a little sticky note on the mirror reminding yourself can be helpful. So meditation, there's a lot of research with how meditation can help to improve stress response and cardiovascular health. So typically with meditation, people like to find a quiet space in a comfortable position, and then close your eyes and breathe naturally. Focus on your breath. It's a really good place to start. So just, listening to your breath, trying, if any thoughts come up, try to just go back to the breath. Or don't do any of these, because you can find meditation in your daily life, whether it be walking or cooking or doing dishes. You can learn just to be present and try to get that relaxation out of that by focusing on the breath while you do that. Okay, so there's a lot of natural options to support a healthy heart. So certain supplements and herbs, omega-3 and fish oil is a really good option. There's so much research with omega-3s and heart protection, really good for cholesterol as well. CoQ10 is a really great option if you are taking a cholesterol medication. A class of medications called statins. They actually deplete CoQ10 in the body. This is something that can help protect your heart over time. So talk to your doctor about that if you're on a statin medication. Fiber, especially if you're not getting enough fiber from your diet, can be a good option. Garlic, really great to help lower cholesterol. A methylated multivitamin. Methylated means that certain vitamins in a multivitamin are in a form that are easy to use in your body. So many cheaper supplements have a non-methylated form of certain vitamins. So looking at your labels or talking to your doctor can be helpful. And then certain herbs are really great to protect your heart as well. Just remember to talk to your doctor before thinking about starting any of these things, because many options that might be good for one person might not be good for another person. Now, as a naturopathic doctor, I do a lot of labs with my patients. I would say most naturopathic doctors do. So you want to make sure you're getting baseline, general yearly labs that you would have done with your primary care physician. And that usually includes, checking your blood cells and your liver function, kidney function, blood sugar. But I also like to check for nutrient status. So checking on different nutrient levels like B12, folate, magnesium, vitamin D is really important for your heart. HSCRP, that's an inflammatory marker. So certain heart conditions can cause inflammation to go up or can be caused by high inflammation. So it's good to check for inflammation in the body, especially with your blood vessels if you have high cholesterol. And then an advanced lipid panel. So most people do have their cholesterol checked once a year, but if you have high cholesterol, it's a good idea to request an advanced lipid panel from your doctor so that you can not only see your cholesterol levels, but you can also see how it might be affecting your blood vessels, how it might be affecting your future risk, and also see how your genetics might affect it. And then fasting glucose and A1C. Fasting glucose is usually checked yearly for most people, but hemoglobin A1C is something that kind of checks for your average blood sugars over the last few months. And that is a screening for prediabetes or diabetes. It's a really great just screenshot of what your diet looks like, but also how your body is able to process those things. So if you have prediabetes or diabetes, or there are other health conditions like female hormonal conditions that can cause you not to process sugar as well as you might optimally. Okay, so as a naturopathic doctor, what I can do and what other naturopathic doctors do to help support your cardiovascular health is usually we always want to treat the cause. So getting to the bottom of what might be causing poor heart health, or treating other things that might be preventing you from having optimal heart health in the future. Functional lab testing, like I mentioned. I do a lot of nutritional counseling with my patients. So if I see certain nutrients being deficient on lab work, I'll always provide certain foods that can help provide those nutrients, or treating the gut if we need to, things like that. Supporting lifestyle changes like stress response and exercise, supplemental and herbal support, referring for medications if needed. So in the state of Connecticut, as naturopathic doctors, we're not able to prescribe prescription medications, but I do often work with my patients' doctors to help them find the appropriate prescription for them if they need one, or I help many of my patients come off of certain medications if they are able to make those lifestyle and diet changes. And then health programs, many naturopathic practices offer programs to help, change the diet and support your health. So those are all things that can be helpful. All right, I think I'm ready to take questions. I think I zoomed through that a little bit, so sorry if it was too fast
That's
for
perfect.
anyone.